There are lots of fun little features in Blender that can help you make unique renders. Let's look at the main techniques I used to map an image to particles, then come up with some ideas of what to do with them once you've done that. We'll be covering a bit of force fields and the awesome molecular add-on, and I'll also give you a tip for mapping images to other large groups of objects. To get started with mapping images to particles, make a plane, but size it to 16:9 proportions. So you could scale it to 16 on the X and 9 on the Y, then scale it down to whatever you like. The goal here is to match your image's shape proportionally. Next, we'll subdivide it. We want as much geometry as our PC can handle. Pay attention to how many vertices your plane has, because it's important in the next step. Mine has 16,641, so I'm going to make a particle system on the plane with exactly that many particles. Under Source, change Emit From to Vertices and disable Random Order. Tell Frame Start and End to both be 1 and crank the lifetime up. Go down to the field weights and disable gravity. Now make a cube and throw it off to the side. Go back to your particles and tell it to render the cube instead of halo. Now we can shade them both. We just need an image texture hooked up to color and to pick our picture from the hard drive. If you did proportions right, it'll fit perfectly. Set your timeline to frame 1 and you'll see your particles all white and boring looking. Now add a material to the cube. Make an image texture and hook it up to color. We can use the drop down on our selection to pick the same picture we just used, but it's wrapped all around our cube and not what we want. Put in a texture coordinate node and hook it to vector. Now we just need to use the object option at the bottom and we'll be able to tell the cube to get its position from where each particle is on the plane. Don't forget to check from instancer. But wait, we did that. What's wrong? Why is it not working? Serious question. It's because of our render engine. Change to shaded mode and all is right in the world. I'm embarrassed at how long it took me to realize this, even on my second time doing the process for this video. Now, if we want it to look better, we can subdivide our image plane again and adjust the amount of particles to the new amount of vertices. We can do a test render and it looks okay, but the problem is the cubes are way too big and overlapping each other. We can scale them down, but they still don't fit right. What the I struggled and realized the solution is to make your cube the same aspect ratio as your plane. So if it were 16:9, scale it to 1.6 on the X and 0.9 on the Y and go back to your picture. Now you can hold shift and adjust the scale to where they line up perfectly. Oh yes, that's very nice. Well, what can you do with something like this? Well, you could simply tear it up with force fields. Might be useful in a video as some sort of transition. Here, I used a vortex and a turbulence set with a larger than normal size value of 2. This makes bigger turbulence, and the vortex kind of sucks it all into the middle. We can also use the awesome molecular add-on, which is being maintained by Scorpion81. It doesn't work yet in Blender 2.93, but does in 2.91. It'll need an update. Molecular is awesome, as it connects particles together and provides them with self-collision and the ability to link particles together. Once you install this add-on, you need to enable particles linking and self-collision under the molecular section. I got this effect by using a really far search radius. That's like how far particles should search for partners to link with. And I cranked the amount of partners up to 64. I also made the linking less stiff and made the connections much harder to break. A value of 2 means the link has to stretch to 200% its original size before they'll break. That way, when this cube that is set as a collider passes through, it causes some minor tearing, But each particle has a strong link to its neighbors, and the whole thing acts a lot more like cloth. You can also map images onto rigid bodies and other groups of objects if you like. If you made an array, have them all separated and have all the objects selected. Now pick your first object and make a material on it. Use the image you want to map onto them as the color by picking Image Texture for color. Now select all your objects and make sure the one with the material is the active object. It should have a lighter color. If you press Ctrl L, you can link the material from this object to all the others. Now they all look like shit. Great. Now what? Okay, it gets better. Go to the UV editing window from the top bar. Press A in edit mode or layout window to select everything and hit F3, type project from view. The black mass that appeared in the UV editor window isn't cancer. It's all your cubes or whatever you have. Now you hover your mouse over that window and press A to select all again. Now you can scale this monstrosity and center it in order to get it lined up how you want. You can still use G, X, and Y and such to grab on the X axis and move it around. And now your cubes have your stupid logo. As long as you project from view from the place you want to view them from, like from the top or side or even a custom view, you can do stuff like this where all the spheres already have the correct material and form the logo as they fall. This is literally my first tutorial on this channel, so if you like how I do things, I really would appreciate your subscription. As a small channel, it means a lot to me, as well as any feedback you might have about my teaching process.